Hey, welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. Before we recognize our sponsors, we want to give a shout out to our two new partner organizations. First, We Coach. Go to wecoachsports.org and check out all the programs, resources, and benefits that members of We Coach can get. That's wecoachsports.org. We also want to say thanks to our new partner, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. Go to globalcommunityofwomeninsports.org. And again, see the resources they provide to their members. Sign up, become a member, become an ally. Join these two great organizations, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. Now let's say thanks to our sponsors. We want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a very cool way to show your school records or display your school's Hall of Fame, you need to go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Their touchscreen consoles and library of templates are just great ways for you to recognize the athletic achievements of your students. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com or send them an email at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. Let them help you showcase your school's greatest moments. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only generate revenue for your department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com and see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Set up that web demo now and see exactly what their products can do for you. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. They sponsor the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Go to athleticsurveys.com or send them an email at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com and they will show you how to sell your tickets online, how to scan your attendees, how to collect the revenue, which is very important. And every step of the way, you'll have a dedicated client success manager to provide hands-on support. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to sell your tickets for other events like dances and performing arts productions, even graduation. Go to hometownticketing.com and start selling tickets digitally. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to gipper.com and see how athletic directors and coaches are creating world-class content for their school's social media channels. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so simple, even I can do it. Go to gipper.com and start creating custom branded content for your school's social media channel. That's gipper.com. Mention the podcast and get 10% off. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and see how Huddle helps teams, athletes, and coaches improve their performance using video and analytics. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, and as an athletic director, we were a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the online tools, the smart cameras, of course, the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle is also built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high school and college programs. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and your program and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility. They have reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that go with athletics. Final Forms can also help your coaches with things like attendance and communication, and even help with their own certification management. And Final Forms can help athletic directors with eligibility, with rosters, and all the forms that come across your desk. It's time for you to talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and see what Final Forms can do for you and your program, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake and get started with Final Forms. And we want to thank SnapRaise. Go to snapraise.com and see how their fundraising platform can help you raise thousands of dollars. Get away from the headaches from the past. There's no upfront cost. Your data is secure. It's easy to track participation. And what's more, it works. Choosing the best fundraiser for you and your group is critical, and you can put the SnapRaise digital fundraising difference to work for you. Like I said, it's easy and effective, it's safe and secure, and it works. Our coaches use SnapRaise and raised thousands of dollars, and you can too. Go to snapraise.com and grow your program with SnapRaise. Change your fundraising game plan and start a fundraiser that works for you. Go to snapraise.com to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going out to the Pacific Northwest and talk to my very good friend, Suzanne Vick. This is Suzanne's third go-round on Wednesday Wisdom. She's also been a podcast guest. She's what we call a friend of the show. And let's just go ahead and start off. Suzanne, how's it going?
It's fantastic. We're in our just finished our first week of school, second week of sports. We've got our first football game tonight, first soccer game tonight. We've got tennis jamboree, volleyball jamboree. Tomorrow we had an inter-squad swim meet. So we got 10 sports going on right now, and we're killing it. We're having a great time and coming back better than we've been in a really long time.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's always an exciting time for our listeners. We're recording this on September 2nd. So school, as Suzanne said, just got started. We thought we would do something a little different for this Wednesday Wisdom. If you don't know Suzanne's program, very successful program, very robust program, a lot of sports, a lot of opportunities, and successful in any way you want to measure it, from participation to number of teams to, championships. But we thought we'd give Suzanne a chance to kind of refresh our listeners, let them know a little bit about her and her program. So let's play question and answer. How long have you been the athletic director at Curtis High School? I guess we should mention that, Curtis High School. And what was it like when you first started there?
So this is the start of my 5th year. My first year, I absolutely knew nothing. I was a brand new AD in the system. And that first year during basketball playoffs, we had a snowstorm that literally we were catching snowballs, like nothing that we've ever seen in the Northwest. And so we ended up with this snowstorm in the middle of my first year that it was a 3-week event that took place during playoffs. So that was a little bit rough. And then my second year, we started with this pandemic and we're coming out of it finally. But Curtis has an amazing history. We've been around since the 60s. We're really good. We're good at sports. We have a lot of opportunities and a lot of things. We just this amazing, rich history. And they continue to be a very good we continue to be a really good sports program. We won 4 state titles last year and had multiple state champions. First time in history that we've won 4 team state titles. And we're positioned to be in the hunt for a lot of those again this year. But when I started, I met with all of my coaches, all of my head coaches, and I did a Q&A and an interview with each of them and asked them, like, who are we? What are we about? What's your vision for your program? And, spent a good chunk of time, about an hour with each of my head coaches, and we have 26 varsity programs. And what I found in that is that the phrase I used was success in a silo. And my family's from Montana, they're wheat farmers, and there's all these silos all over the farm, grain silos, wheat, whatever that looks like. And so every sports program had this success, but they were just so in their silo. And so one of the things that I have worked on since I got here is how do we break the silos and just be successful as a school and community and who we are.
I think that's a challenge that is not unique, to Curtis or any AD. Coaches, they have their coach blinders on and they're focused on their program. And sometimes they need, whether it's a gentle nudge or a kick in the pants, to remind them that, it's not, I'll use Curtis, it's not Curtis, you've got water polo in the background. It's not Curtis water polo, it's Curtis High School. And water polo and basketball and softball, all those sports are part of the program and they're very important, but they're pieces of the program. They are not
Absolutely.
the program. And that's where you as an AD come in, to provide that, that we'll call it leadership, in quotes, kick them in the pants. So, what are some, and you mentioned this is your 5th year, and you're certainly no stranger to athletics. I'm privy to your athletic background. What are some of the changes that, maybe when you came in, you saw, hey, we do this pretty good, but we can do better. What are some things, beyond the silos, that you feel particularly proud of at this point?
Everybody in sales has an elevator speech. If you're stuck in an elevator with somebody for 30 seconds, you got to have what do you do? And you got to sell that, right? My elevator speech for my job is that I get to empower people to live inside their passion. And so that is the lens that I have every time I'm talking, every time I'm working with my athletes or my coaches or our community, is that I get to empower people to live in their passion. What are you passionate about? What can I do to help you and serve you? And so we talk a lot about intentionality, and the simple definition of intentionality is to be done on purpose. So I was so proud on Saturday. I was listening to somebody talk about how frustrated they were. They couldn't get people to work and they couldn't get people to do what they needed to do. And I had my cross country team was on a retreat. My soccer team went out to a leadership camp. My volleyball team did team bonding. My football team did a community night. Our water polo and swim programs went to the drive-in theater. I'm not paying them extra. They just are so intentional about creating an amazing culture, and they're empowering their kiddos to live inside their passion, and they're doing it on purpose. So intentionality is one. I got a mental performance certification this summer with Brian Kane. And so the mental aspect is something that I'm really working to empower into our children and our coaches. And so Brian Kane's amazing. If you haven't had a chance to listen to him, he does great work on building the mental side. And if I was a college athletic director, we'd have a mental performance coach, we'd have a nutritionist, we'd have a physical coach, we'd have all these other things, but we don't in high school systems. And so we're doing you could follow the hashtag CHS Viking mentality. So each week there's a new theme. We're doing something related to the certification that I got. So this week is commitment and motivation. Okay, what does that look like? What's your why? How are you working on that? So the mental aspect is a big deal. Sportsmanship, buzzword, right? We're supposed to have great sportsmanship. Well, we've really dove into what does that mean as a league. We're part of the SPSL 4A, and we have met as a league. Our athletic directors, 2 kiddos from each school came together at our school for a sportsmanship summit that we titled Honor the Game. And what does honoring the game mean? What does it look like? What does it sound like? If you want information about it, I'd be happy to send it because it was really powerful. And getting the kids to decide what honor the game means, I think is going to make our events that much better. And so really, we're working this year on kids not targeting other kids from other teams. Like, let's focus on our side of the street. Let's take care of us. But really working on what does honor mean? Honoring the players, honoring the coaches, honoring the officials. and honoring the other team that's there that has put in just as much time as our team has, and really trying to build up something amazing and great inside our sports programs for our entire league, and hopefully that translates to our district and our state. So that's fun. We've spent a lot of time working on equity work, not only racially, but gender equity work. And so this year, we're kind of calling it the year of the girl. You know, it's the anniversary of Title IX, 50 years. And so right now we have about 270 girls cleared for fall sports and about 210 boys. And most schools don't have those numbers. And so we have started really being intentional with making sure our girls and our girls sports and our girls sports coaches know that we're here to empower them to go be great. We're starting a once a month meeting with our female athletes. Once a month, consistently get together, talk through any issues that might be there, and figuring out how to go be great. And then in February, when it's Girls and Women in Sports Day, that month we are going to do a Girls and Women in Sports fundraiser, as well as kind of a training session. We're gonna bring in some speakers and do some empowering of our female athletes. So super excited about that. We have a lot of momentum behind it, and some people that are really excited about supporting that mission. So that's super fun. And then you can always follow the hashtag Vikes Support Vikes, because that's kind of our thing. We're trying to really claim that as a true Vikes Support Vikes, and we've got some kind of things we're doing with that as well.
You know, I saw that hashtag on your email, Vikes Support Vikes, and I just thought immediately, oh, that's very cool, and I hadn't seen that before. The initiatives that you talked about, two really, jumped out at me. The Sportsmanship Initiative, which I know you've done a tremendous amount of work on, the past several months. We got a national example of why that's important. I mean, it's important because, we should be good sports, but if it goes in the other direction, the problems at the BYU volleyball game, where some of the BYU fans were targeting players on the other team, just, it's a big mess. And again, kids should take care of that, but if the kids aren't doing their job, then the coaches and the ADs have to step in. And then, the continued celebration, June was the 50th anniversary, but we're doing it all year for Title IX. And it gives me a chance to mention again the podcast, two new partnerships that we just put together. One with the Global Community of Women in High School Sports, Jen Brooks's group. I know you're an active participant in that. And also We Coach, Vanessa Fuchs is their CEO. We recently became partners with their organization. Go to both of those websites, We Coach and Global Community, see all the benefits and resources that are available for coaches and ADs, and even student athletes. So thanks for giving me a chance to give that a shout out.
Absolutely. They're both fantastic.
You and I were talking before we came on. We've known each other now for a couple of years, but we still never have met in person. So we're looking forward to, at least I am, we're looking forward to meeting each other officially at Nashville this year. But for our listeners, Suzanne has really, she was always a great high school AD, but circumstances, including the pandemic, I don't know if it allowed her or forced her to kind of flex her own AD muscles. She had a huge project that she was involved with, creating basketball courts. She's taking on this Sportsmanship Initiative, and she has become, very deservedly so, a national voice for our profession. She's going to be presenting in California. She's also going to be presenting in Nashville. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Ms. Vick. What does the future hold for Curtis High School and for Suzanne Vick?
Well, there's only one person that knows what the future holds for me, but this is my jam. This is what I love to do. I love to speak. I love to empower people. Not so much on the finance end and dealing with bus schedules, that's part of the job, but I love this. I love to really help people and inspire them. And so one of the things that we've done to really adopt this true support bikes mentality, presented it to my coaches, and they're on board. It's been really fun. So we're doing an adopt a team. This idea came from one of my other coaches from a college that he had been at, and each of my teams is adopting another team. Minimal expectations is that you'll take your team and go at least support them at one event. But they're taking it and they're running with it and they're really excited. And the things that I loved, like first person that reaches out is baseball. We want to adopt girls basketball. Boys basketball is adopting girls golf, and girls golf is adopting baseball. And it's this just amazing web that is being spun in developing this support bikes mentality. And where does it start? Why can't it start with us? It should start with us. And so I'm really excited, like our football team's supporting and adopting girls cross country. And so the only thing I asked of them is, please don't support the thing that you're always around. So girls soccer, boys soccer, water polo, swim. Like get outside your bubble and go find and meet different athletes and go support somebody inside that. And at our coaches meeting, when we were talking about this, I said this statement to the whole group. We're in our compliance training and, the thing you gotta do every year. And I said, does anybody have, any concerns or any objections to this? And my girls wrestling coach looked at me, he goes, like, we're gonna tell you no. And so they didn't say no. And not only that, every single coach responded with, we'd like to adopt this particular team. So we've got 26 sports that are adopting another team, and they're all scattered all over our athletic department. And I'm super excited about that. We just started every Wednesday late start. So it's an hour every Wednesday. And I asked my principal, I said, do you have any obligations for me during that time? And he's like, nope. It's when we're doing PLC work in the classroom. And he goes, as long as you don't need teachers, you're good to go. And so in addition to this girls and women's sports meeting once a month, we're going to do a leadership training once a month. So every first Wednesday of the month, every third Wednesday of the month, we've got some kind of Viking vision of where we're going. So girls and women in sports, and then leadership training. And then obviously our girls and women in sports initiative is pretty exciting. And then as far as globally, I do feel like somewhere in my future, I'm going to globally, I don't know. I don't know what's in store for me. I do feel like somewhere I'm going to use my story to inspire other people. And I enjoy speaking and empowering people. So I don't know what that looks like, but I'm really excited about the opportunities that we've been given. There's 3 ADs and myself that are speaking at the national conference and at the California conference. And we were pretty intentional through the pandemic of creating this group. There's 2 women, 2 men, 2 Black, 2 white, and we are just an amazing group of humans that inspire greatness in each other. We have a group text that we talk, and the title of our topic is Ahead of the Curve, and how to game day planning so that so things don't happen. Like the news story that you were just talking about, how do you stay ahead of it? That's the concept, is how do you stay ahead of the curve? And one of the things that we hit on, and Tara Davis, who works in the Seattle Public Schools, really talks a lot about that. How do we care for all of our students, and how do we take care of our student section so that those things don't happen? And how Johnny Lee from Silas High School, he really nails the game day coming in, and how do we set the stage so those things don't happen? And Russ Waterman cares for our officials, and how do we do that well so that they want to come back, that they want to be part of us. And so it's been a great group of people, very diverse group of people, that we just work really hard to inspire each other. And I'm really proud of that group and what we're doing and the time that we're getting to spend together because we make each other better every single day. So I'm excited to go to Nashville. It'll be my first time at National Conference. So that feels maybe a little overwhelming going for the first time and presenting. But I'm excited to grow and learn, and that's just kind of my thing. It's what I like to do.
Well, I know I'm the moderator for one workshop. I'm going to contact NIAAA, see if I can get switched and maybe be the moderator to introduce you guys. That'd be very
Love
cool.
it.
Okay. Suzanne, looking back to your first year or years as an athletic administrator, we always use the expression about kids or coaches, and it applies to ADs too. When you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know. So what advice would you give to that younger Suzanne just starting out as an athletic administrator?
Well, it's funny you say that because when people, I have 3 kids, and people will like at times ask me for parenting advice. And my best advice is have your second child first, because the second one's so much easier. But that doesn't really work that way. So if I could go back and do it again, I would set better boundaries for myself. I would decide what my win is, and win standing for what's important now. So you don't have to do it all, but what's important right now. Like today I have a football game. What's important today? I think the other is create your community. You as an AD cannot be success in a silo either. And so Russ, Johnny, Tara, Lindsay Foster at South Kitsap, I've gotten a chance to work with as a brand new AD. Like, ask questions, find the people you trust that you can go ask the what you think is a dumb question, because in this job there's so many questions and somebody has the answer. So really building your community, but not too big. Like, who can you call? Who can you text? Who can answer the question immediately? I have those people in my co-presenters and in a few other ADs in this area. So that's really important. And then I would say, take care of you first. This is something I have struggled with. Our admin team now has a weekly challenge for health. And you pick your goal, and if you don't reach your goal, you go buy coffee the next Friday. So I'm buying coffee next Friday. I didn't quite get it this week, but sleeping. Like, you can't live on little sleep consistently. Eating, what are you going to do? What's your game plan? How are you going to exercise? So mine, like, I walked to work today. That's something I can do to be healthier. And it doesn't take that much time. Mindfulness, Brian Kane has really, I hear his voice a lot. Rob Gilbert from Success Hotline, I hear his voice a lot. And then figure out what you're going to do and stick to it. There's an app called Habit Share that I got turned on to. I use it every day. And these are the things I want to do every single day. And I check them off. So it's like this little checklist that kind of tracks with you, and you can share it with friends. That I got from from Brian Kane at my first conference in Washington State. So he does a mental performance podcast that I listen to, and those are some of the things that I do consistently. One of the things I was talking to a new AD, and I said, have you had a time to go out and talk with with all your teams yet? She's working on culture. And she's like, I don't have time to. And my statement back to her was, you don't have time not to.
Right.
So we got an athlete here that's kind of created a mantra for us: one team, one town, one team, one dream. So that's something we're kind of holding on to this year. But yeah, I would, anybody that needs help, anybody that needs an answer, please feel free to reach out. I'm available. Probably the best way to reach me is on my email. And then I can give you a call at svick, VICK, at upsd83.org. Stands for University Place School District. But I I really appreciate you, Jake. I think you do a great job of getting the message out of how to care for our ADs and how to make life just a little bit easier.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I think it's inherent in our profession that, ADs, we just naturally want to help. We want to give. You don't have to steal ideas because the athletic director is already trying to give it to you, whether you want it or not. And thanks for giving out that contact information. I was going to ask for that because our listeners, you should reach out to Suzanne. She's a leader on so many different levels. She's also very active on Twitter. What's that Twitter handle?
Our Viking Nation. It's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. OUR Viking Nation. And again, those are the two hashtags I mentioned. Those are what we're using this year. So pretty much everything gets hashtagged Vikes supports Vikes support Vikes and CHS Viking mentality.
Suzanne Vick, Curtis High School national presenter for the NADC. Thanks so much for spending time with us again on Wednesday Wisdom.
You betcha. Thanks for having me. I hope you have a great fall, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you in December.
Absolutely. Okay. For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of all of these interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back next Wednesday for more Wednesday Wisdom and just about every day for the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Before we go, we want to say thanks to our sponsors one more time. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not surveying your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to have a dedicated client success person to work with you every step of the way to start selling your tickets digitally. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, managing all the information that you have that comes across your desk as an athletic director. You need Final Forms. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to get started. That's finalforms.com/Jake. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com and see how their fundraising platform can create thousands and thousands of dollars for your programs. Our coaches use SnapRaise, and it was just great. Go to snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a unique way to display your school records for all your sports or to create a digital Hall of Fame for your athletic department, talk to the folks at Vital Signs. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame to get started. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and start creating world-class marketing content for your school's social media channels. It's easy and effective. Go to Gipper.com, mention the podcast, use the code ADPOD10, ADPOD10, and get 10% off. Also want to give a shout out to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards are great revenue generators, and they also create the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com to get started. And finally, we want to say thanks to our two new partners, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. Both organizations are just fantastic. Go to their websites and find all the resources and benefits that they can provide you as an athletic director or as a coach. The Global Community of Women in Sports.org, Global Community of Women in Sports.org, and WeCoachSports.org are two new partners for the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks again for listening to today's Wednesday Wisdom. Come back again next Wednesday for more Wednesday Wisdom and just about every day on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next week.